Kale's heartbeat echoes memories of orphan nights in the spire's warrens, where every elder hissed, "Don't trust the shadows." Neon billboards overhead sputter and die, plunging him into ink-black tunnels where rain-slick walls swallow his reflection. The echo of that warning tightens his chest, until in the hush a whisper slices through dread, "Come." Suddenly, everything he believed trembles beneath his boots. He slips past steaming vents and electric graffiti that bathe the alleys in sickly pink and cobalt. His island's HUD pings over rusted crates and broken servos, each unclaimed scrap framed by flickering light. Alone in the pulse of Terran Spire's underbelly, he feels the false warmth of a city that thrives on fear, every shadow promising both treasure and oblivion. Tonight the concrete corridors thrum with a deeper rhythm, pipes vibrate like distant drums, and the walls glow faintly with bioluminescent tendrils. Each footfall reverberates, matching the underlight's unheard heartbeat. The hum surrounds him, alive and insistent, stirring a curiosity that clashes with every instinct screaming to flee. The alley transformed into a living vein, carrying secrets he's never dared to chase. A breath-soft voice, almost lost in the hum, whispers come. From the gloom, a pale hand extends, fingers dusted in phosphor lines, tattoos pulsing in time with unseen currents. The violet glow seems to beckon him closer. Her silhouette emerges like a ghost unbound, eyes alight with fierce hope. In that moment, Kale feels the underlight shift from menace to promise. His HUD screams red, unregistered life form detected. Above, drone rotors churn, searchlights carving the gloom into jagged shadows. Every protocol tells him this is a threat. Default tagging means termination. Panic and protectiveness collide as Kale freezes, knowing a single misstep will summon lethal enforcement. Yet he cannot tear his gaze from the girl whose tattoos blaze like a heartbeat in the dark. His pulse thunders louder than reactor hum as he blurts, "Great, I don't even know your name." The words crack through tension, a shard of humor in the electric air. She tilts her head, half-smile dancing on her lips, eyes reflecting neon fragments. The joke lands between them, fear deflated by shared surprise, as the tunnel's glow flickers in silent agreement. Her fingertips brush his glove, a spark in the gloom. "Then learn it," she murmurs, voice soft as starlight. The pulse in her tattoos syncs with his own rising heartbeat, weaving trust where none should dwell. For a breath, the underlight's harsh hum softens, the alley's menace retreats. In that single contact, Kale feels the first thread of a bond stronger than any law. A patrol bot's servos whine closer, its crimson eye rotating to lock on them. She grips his hand tighter. "Hold on tight," she whispers, and pulls him forward into violet-tinged darkness. Their silhouettes vanish beyond the drone's beam, leaving the world they knew behind. In that charged instant, he knows he's leapt into the underlight's true heart, a realm they said didn't exist. High above the alleys, the security directorate's photonic sigils blaze in cobalt and white, branding every corner of the upper city. Each glowing emblem broadcasts biometric data, face scans, gate profiles, even pulse rhythms, marking any unregistered shadow as unauthorized. Citizens flinch as they pass beneath, wrists tapping hollow pads to prove their clearance. No graffiti survives, no corner hides. In Terran Spire, the light never sleeps, and no secret goes unseen. Beneath transparent maglev tracks, the underlight lies in perpetual dusk. Clear depth plates reveal endless strata, layers of machinery and forgotten warrens, where the sun's warmth never penetrates. Steam vents hiss at T-junctions and neon signs glow like fever dreams, casting fractured rainbows on damp concrete. Every step echoes metal on metal, amplifying isolation. Here, desperation breeds resilience. Scavengers learn to navigate by engine hums and distant clanks rather than the absent sun. Above the crowded thoroughfare, a massive hollow banner sputters between blackouts. Report all underlight activity. Reward: 5 Costa Rican colognes. In shifting crimson text, it proclaims bounties on whispers and alley barter. Neighbors once sharing scraps now eye each other warily. Suspicion crowds the air like ash. Even street vendors glance up before offering a ration. The ministry's message loops ceaselessly. Fear becomes currency, and every informant hopes to turn a neighbor's breath into profit. Kale ducks beneath a hovering patrol drone, lips curling in wry defiance as its searchlight sweeps past. Shadow tacks for breathing. He mutters, sliding against graffiti-streaked steel. The drone's scanners hum, waiting to tag his silhouette, but he melts into the gloom. Each beam, an unwelcome toll booth in the dark, demanding proof of life. Yet even here, under photonic glare, Kale's humor is a stubborn spark against oppressive light. Magnetic resonance tag, bots prowl the corridor, mandibles humming as they scan for forbidden biosignatures. Any stray, calm pulse or unregistered heartbeat triggers a lockdown beacon. Corridor grates slam, hollow bridges retract, and an alarm stabs the gloom. Refugees flatten against walls, eyes wide, hopes pinned on interference patterns. The bots never blink. They lock in on every isotopic trace. Breathe wrong, send a text, and you vanish into the directorate's blacklist. Down a side tunnel, refugees queue for ration wafers stamped Spire citizens only. Their hollow gazes follow each dispenser's click. Hot, tasteless wafers spat into trembling hands. Bowed shoulders and hollow cheeks reflect Kale's own gnawing hunger, as alive to hunger as to fear. The line inches forward beneath flickering amber lights. Hope is measured bite by bite. Even sustenance demands loyalty in Terran Spire's dark underbelly. Against a ribbed maintenance conduit, Kale presses Ceres into shadow. Her bio-sigil bracelet hums softly, pulsing violet light that scrambles MRT scans into harmless machinery signatures. The bot's lenses sweep right past them, failing to lock onto her unregistered core. His heartbeat steadies as the bracelet's interference shields them. In this fleeting refuge, technology becomes sanctuary, her alien mark transformed from death warrant to lifeline. Each scanner ping is a heartbeat away from betrayal, yet in her grip the underlight breathes possibility. What once was lethal gloom now feels vibrant, alive with secrets and whispered promises. Violet's sigil pulses dance across damp walls, casting warmth where only cold steel reigned. In that darkness, Kale senses more than threat. He feels the pulse of a hidden world, alive with hope, waiting beyond the surgical glare of surveillance. Kale ducks beneath a twisted girder and guides Ceres into the collapsed service tunnel, his childhood sanctuary. The ceiling's dying fluorescence sputter, casting long, trembling shadows on rusted bulkheads and strewn debris. The air tastes of oil and ozone, a metallic comfort recalling nights when he and other street kids huddled here to escape enforcement sweeps. He offers her his shoulder as they navigate waist-high rubble, every footstep echoing in the stagnant gloom. For a moment, the spire above them feels impossibly distant, out of reach. In this twilight refuge, Kale's protectiveness flickers to life, a promise kindled by the flicker of half-broken lights. Ceres pauses, clutching her forearm where crimson blooms through torn fabric. Kale tears open a medstrip packet and presses the cool foam-filled pad to the wound. It hisses, sealing tissue and numbing pain with antiseptic mist. She winces, then lifts her gaze. Her violet-lit eyes glint with raw gratitude in the tunnel's sickly glow. Kale's fingers tremble as he applies gentle pressure, but his voice remains steady. Hold still. The antiseptic foam recedes, leaving the cut clean. Ceres breathes out, her shoulders relaxing for the first time since they met. In that shared moment of care, fear softens into fragile relief. Ceres's voice is a hush against the tunnel drone. I owe you. Kale shrugs, the motion rough and unceremonious. I'm not looking for debt, he says, voice gravel deep in the cramped passage. His deflection carries more warmth than he intends. Permission for her to rely on him without obligation. She studies him, uncertainty flickering like a candle in her gaze before softening into trust. The corroded pipes overhead creak as if echoing his refusal to bind her with obligations. In that brief exchange, their relationship shifts, not rescuer and rescued, but two souls forging solidarity in the spire's darkest veins. The tunnel hums, a ceaseless backdrop of machinery feeding the station's breath. Kale pulls aside a vent filter and rigs a jury-rigged air scrubber from discarded parts. As the new device sputters to life, its software smothers the corridor's noise, creating a bubble of silence. Saris exhales, marveling at the unexpected stillness. Tentatively, they lean in close. Her laughter ripples through the vents, a rebellion of warmth echoing off metal walls. Kale allows himself a rare grin. In the absence of drones and alarms, their voices weave between shadows, unfiltered. For a fleeting moment, hope outshines surveillance's glare. A metallic servo whine slices the silence, patrol bot rounding the corner. Saris melts into the darkness, disappearing behind a bulkhead. Kale steps forward, chin raised under the scrubber's glow. The bot's searchlight swings onto him, its lenses scanning. "Nothing to see here," he quips, voice casual. The machine's red beam freezes on his still form, then drifts onward as programs override suspicion. Kale exhales quietly, fingers clenched at his side. Behind him, Saris's relieved silence is a testament to his ruse. In that daring moment, his nerve becomes her shield, and defiance the only ally they need. Under a cracked panel dripping coolant, Saris motion signals Kale closer. She uncurls her palm, revealing a delicate star map inked in faint lines that shimmer in the mist. The constellations trace lost gateways, jump points erased from every official chart. Kale's breath hitches as he studies the map, each line igniting his imagination with routes to freedom. The coolant drips around them in slow rivulets, haloing the tattooed design. "This is more than a map," he murmurs, eyes alight with wonder. Saris's fingers brush his wrist, shared purpose stirring between them in the tunnel's damp, muted light. Kale's jaw tightens as he traces the inked pathways. "You're more than a runaway," he says, voice low but steady. Saris smiles, placing her hand atop his, linking star map and sigil in quiet solidarity. "We're both rewriting the rules," she replies. In that moment, their roles crystallize, not fugitive in aid, but co-architects of their own destiny. The tunnel's shadows lean in, bearing witness as they forge a pact of purpose. The tattoo and bracelet pulse in tandem, two hearts beating a new cadence. Bound by choice, they find strength in each other's resolve. They stand amid rubble and half-lit gloom, the violet sigil on Saris's wrist and the star map on her palm uniting past and future. Kale meets her gaze, both fierce and tender, as the air scrubber hums its quiet rhythm. No words are needed. Their synchronized breaths and steady heartbeats speak volumes. In this silent forge, trust is tempered like steel, unyielding and resilient. Every flicker of the tunnel lights cements their bond. Here, in the spire's underbelly, two fugitives become allies, their shared defiance shining brighter than any photonic sigil overhead. Guided by the map and oath, Kale leads Saris to an old maintenance ladder, his secret exit from childhood chases. Each rung echoes with memories of narrow escapes and whispered plans. Above, the distant pulse of maglifts reminds them of the city's cold heights. Below, the ladder descends toward the spire's ancient foundation levels. Violet light spills across each step as they climb, purpose and hope propelling them upward. At the ladder's top, Kale pauses, glancing back at the tunnel's gloom, then forward at freedom's unknown horizon. Side by side, they ascend, fugitives no longer, but architects of revolt in Terran Spire's heart. Kale follows Celine through a rusted hatch into a hidden chamber deep beneath Terran Spire. Bioluminescent moss clings to vaulted stone, its green-blue veins pulsing softly against the darkness. Ancient conduits coil along the walls like sleeping serpents, their metal ribbing etched with sigils long faded by time. Every footstep echoes in the hush, the air humming with latent energy as if the rock itself remembers lost power. Kale's breath catches at the chamber's scale. What must have been a grand hall now lies half-buried, reclaimed by moss and shadow. In this subterranean cathedral, awe and apprehension war in his chest. Celine steps before a carved pedestal hewn from obsidian, its surface inlaid with crystalline glyphs. She places her bio-sigil bracelet into a recessed slot, and the stones quiver. From etched veins, shadow rift patterns unfurl into flickering hollow runes that dance across the floor. The glyphs glow with the same violet pulse as her skin, casting shifting shapes on the walls. Kale watches spellbound as the pedestal's crystal matrix hums, quantum decryption lighting ghostly symbols in the air. A low thrum builds, resonating through the hall's pillars, confirming that the Lightweaver legacy still stirs beneath the spire's foundations. Hidden hollow projectors embedded in the chamber walls ignite, projecting spectral scenes of the Lightweavers at work. Ghostly recordings show robed figures weaving threads of radiant energy into the underlight, channels of pure luminescence sprouting life from barren rock. Their chants echo like ripples in water, spectral hands guiding vines of light through darkness. Kale steps forward as vines entwine columns of stone, blossoming into luminous flowers that vanish with each reverberation. Awe and melancholy wash over him as he witnesses the height of their artistry and senses the heartbreak of what was lost. The past pulses in each flicker, a lament for a vanished age. Celine lowers her hood, revealing vaulted tattoos that trace along her veins in filigrees of living light. Each mark glows softly in the moss light, forming patterns that shift with her heartbeat. She stands tall, voice steady. "I am Celine, last of the Lightweavers." Kale's eyes widen at the resonance of her words. Her tattoos flare, illuminating her features in gentle waves, as if she carries the underlight itself beneath her skin. In her gaze, he reads pride and sorrow, an air burdened by exile, yet unbroken. In that instant, Celine transcends fugitive status and becomes living proof of a miracle thought extinct. With deliberate grace, Celine places her hand on a nearby conduit and closes her eyes. The chamber's darkness ripples, and Kale gasps as hidden passages, coded traps, and pulsing heart nodes glow into view. Walls flicker with wireframe overlays. Corridors safe and corridors deadly, each line color-coded by her touch. Slanted beams of moss light reveal floor panels wired to collapse, alcoves concealing ancient escape routes. Kale's HUD fails to register any of it. Only her presence unlocks this vision. Together, they map out a path, danger made visible by her gift. In the glow of her touch, uncertainty yields to confidence. Her tone deepens, carrying the weight of generations. "My people surrendered the underlight to save the spire, then were cast aside." The words hang heavy in the chamber, echoing off stone. Kale watches as conduits pulse in sympathy, emerald veins brightening at her sorrow. She steps back, voice quivering. "We wove life from shadow and offer it up as repayment. They forgot our names." A tremor runs through her frame, anger mingled with grief. Kale places a hand on her shoulder, sharing her burden. In her confession, he feels the grotesque injustice of her exile and steels himself to stand by her side. Heavy doors groan open and armored enforcers storm in, rifles keyed to bio-sigil frequencies snapping to alert. Their visors flare amber as they sweep searchlights across the chamber. Kale and Celine freeze beneath the hollow rune's glow. Bio-signature detected. One hisses. Tactical directives flare on their HUDs. Terminate or capture. The Ministry strike team fans out, stamping forward in lockstep, weapons poised. Dust stirs under their boots as the hollow runes flicker under mangled moss. In that tense instant, Legacy and life hang in the balance. One wrong move, and the chamber's secrets will be lost forever. Celine steps from the shadows, eyes blazing with defiance. They've banished my line. I'll return as its pulse, she proclaims, voice resonating like a clarion call. The enforcers hesitate, rifles lowering a fraction. Her tattoos flare brighter, shadow rifts rippling in response. Kale feels her conviction surge into him. His fear recedes. In that moment, her exile becomes her weapon. The team raises weapons, but their authority wavers before her certainty. Kale squares his shoulders and draws breath, ready to defend her claim. Together, like Weaver and Scavenger, they stand as living proof that the underlight will not remain dark. Celine raises her hand, and encrypted streams flood Kale's ocular HUD, layered schematics of the underlight's original power grid, abandoned gate codes, and coordinates of hidden sanctuaries beneath the spire. Holographic blueprints whirl before his eyes. Junction nodes, bypass conduits, sealed access points. Each new layer pulses in his vision as she narrates. Safe rooms here, collapsed shafts there. Kale's mind races. Assimilation instantaneous. They hold the blueprint to revive an entire network of light. The enforcers hesitate as digital runes cascade behind them. Ignorance of this power, now a glaring vulnerability. Kale exhales, voice catching. I thought I was just a tech scrubber. Now I'm guardian to a miracle. The words echo in the chamber's hush. Celine's gaze softens as she nods. Acceptance and relief mingling in her expression. Kale steps beside her, shoulders squared, purpose crystallized. No longer a bystander, he embraces his new role, protector of the last light weaver and the underlight's rebirth. The chamber's moss pulses brighter, as if in approval. In that quiet confession, fear transforms into resolve. Two souls united by destiny rather than by debt. Above the pedestal, the hollow runes spin into a single, glowing sigil, Shadowheart. Celine's tattoos surge in resonance as she intones, "That is my name reborn." Kale's heartbeat quickens at the weight of her identity, ancient power distilled into one word. Shadowheart flickers in midair, its fractal lines shifting like living script. The enforcers lower their rifles, uncertainty rippling across their ranks, as if the name itself demands reverence. Celine straightens, embodying the legacy it carries. Kale bows his head in solidarity, honoring her rebirth. In the glow of Shadowheart, they find a spark to ignite the underlight once more. Alarms shatter the chamber's stillness as Celine places a palm on the hollow rune. Shadow bridges erupt from the pedestal, a twisting archway of living darkness rippling with obsidian energy. "Step through," she urges, voice calm amid chaos. Kale hesitates, then grips her hand. Together they step into the void. The archway closes behind them, leaving only a silent chamber bathed in moss light and dormant conduits. The enforcers rush in and find empty air, the sigils dimming once more. Beyond a rift, Kale and Celine vanish, bearers of a legacy reclaimed and a light rekindled in the underlight's heart. Across every spire sector, hollow screens flare crimson and white with the urgent bulletin. Shadowheart breach, pending execution. The alert overrides news feeds in neon canyons and corporate arcologies alike, stamping Kale and Celine's faces on a cracked displays. Pedestrians freeze mid-step, eyes darting skyward as the message loops. Protect or purge. A mother pulls her child close beneath a flickering ad for Spire security. Even the street art glitches to bear the warning. In the underlight's alleys, whispered fear ripples through scavenger gangs and market stalls, turning every shadow into a potential executioner. Moments later, Ministry corvettes breach the underlight's chasm, their hulls gleaming against dripping rock. Searchlights pierce the gloom as ghost town sub-drones eject, spiraling along tunnel walls in jagged patterns. Each drone's lenses flicker trispectrum scans, hunting for Ceres's bio-sigil frequency. Corvette engines growl overhead, magnifying the claustrophobia of vertical shafts. Kale peeks through rusted grating as one drone scuttles past, mandibles clicking. In the distance, scaffold-like support beams glow under relentless beam sweeps. The oppression of cold steel and calculated algorithm hunts them down, every conduit and beam transformed into a corridor of dread. In hidden hollow booths, Merc captains ping darknet channels, hawking Shadow Weaver trackers for 100M credits. Scrolling code banners flash their logos, skull-dripped specters intertwined with circuitry, while avatars representing ruthless hunters exchange coordinates of underlight junctions. Each message promises live delivery of the last Lightweaver, premium bounty for intact biocore. Rogue kleptos and ex-soldiers eye their compads greedily, calculating routes past ministry patrols. Tribal smugglers compare sensor jammer specs, debating which tracker chips to affix. Trust evaporates in the lust for profit. Every scavenger, every crevice might harbor a hunter. Kale ducks behind a stack of synthor crates as a drone's searchlight scrapes past. He twists his visor up, breath ragged, and quips under his breath. Guess they never trusted the shadows, huh? Saris presses close, eyes bright with reluctant amusement. His humor cracks the tension, and for a fleeting heartbeat, they share a spark of defiance. The drone's beam flickers uncertainly on Kale's grime-streaked coat before it lifts and continues its sweep. He exhales, pocketing a sliver of relief as he guides Saris into the next alcove, their footsteps swallowed by the underlight's humming veins. Deep in carved alcoves, hidden enclaves ignite bio-lanterns of soft violet. The luminous fist's silent salute. Each lantern beams a low-frequency pulse undetectable by ministry scanners, broadcasting safe route pings directly to Kale's HUD. Markers blink open through Saris's comm interface. Node Alpha, 5 clicks north, stairwell bypass engaged. In a dank tunnel, a cluster of refugees answers the call, guiding survivors into disguised hatchways. Kale and Saris exchange a nod, heartened by solidarity. Though danger lodges in every corner, these signals affirm they are not alone, that an underground network still breathes life into rebellion. Kale taps his HUD and severs the comm link. "We carve our own path," he says, voice firm. He knows every rebel's safe house could be compromised. Betrayal lurks where hope should live. Saris nods, understanding that self-reliance is their truest ally. The corridor's conduit walls shudder with distant gunfire. Kale steadies Saris's hand, guiding her past a collapsed service panel. Each step demands caution and resolve. No sanctuary is guaranteed, only the promise of forward motion. They navigate by memory and instinct, trusting each other over any external beacon. Their unity becomes both shield and compass. A crashing roar echoes as Corvette guns thunder above, spooling falling debris into a meteor curtain of glowing slag. Kale and Saris dive for cover behind a half-collapsed support strut as molten shards whip through the air. Sparks hiss where they strike concrete, painting the tunnel in fiery streaks. Heart-pounding, Kale hauls Saris up and vaults together into a fractured transit shaft opening in the wall. Shadows swallow their forms as hot embers rain down. In the chaos of iron fire, they slip through the breach, nature's violent gambit, gifting them precious seconds to vanish. Within the transit shaft's maze of service rails and rusted conduits, Kale leads Saris upward. Narrow ladders and hidden crawl spaces channel their flight, each step guided by Celine's shadow sight. Faded maintenance schematics scrawled on steel walls offer cryptic clues. Panel 12B. Emergency vent, lockdown, override here. Their boots scrape echoes as they scramble through grated walkways. A vent cover slips in Kale's hand. Saris steadies him with a gentle touch. Every corner reveals fresh peril. Steam vents, exposed wiring, collapsed rungs. Yet her silent guidance and his resolve weave them safely through the labyrinth. They emerge into a ruined gate rotunda, its moonlit arches ringed with glowing mushrooms and vine-clad pylons. The abandoned jump point's dormant runes pulse faintly, recognizing Shadowheart's presence. Kale exhales, voice low. We're not just running, we're reclaiming. Together they step across blood-red moss and shattered tile toward the arcane console. As Saris places her hand on the rune-inscribed dais, vines recoil to reveal a hidden glyph, a dormant activation circuit. In that silent threshold, shadows shift into promise. Hand in hand, they vanish through the rotunda's arch, disappearing into Underlight's living darkness and the dawn of their revolt. Deep in the derelict databank's freezing core, Kale reactivates a cracked hollow console. Flickering logs cascade across wire-carved walls, each reel accusing the light weavers of massacres that claimed tens of thousands. Red casualty figures scroll like a ticking clock, painting uprisings as genocidal horrors. He watches, breath misting in the coolant chilled air, the glow illuminating his tense features. Every statistic claws at his faith in Celine's cause, spelling out the ministry's darkest propaganda. Shadows dance across the chamber floor as the archive's drip-drip of leaking conduits echoes like a funeral hymn. History itself a weapon turned against them. Celine staggers backward, pressing trembling fingers to her temple as the holologs replay her people's so-called atrocities. Violet-lit tattoos dim to dull gray beneath the console's blink, mapping anguish across her veins. I wanted to heal the shadows, she whispers, voice cracking, not harm the light. Tears gather at the corners of her eyes, catching the hollow glow like shattered stars. The chamber's damp chill presses in, and Kale can almost feel the weight of a lifetime's guilt settle on her shoulders. In that moment, the last light weaver seems smaller than human, crushed beneath a legacy she never chose. Kale's eyelid's HUD flickers with casualty overlays, ghostly figures of the fallen world hovering between them. He catches his own sweat-slick brow in the console's reflection and exhales sharply. Am I harboring a monster? He murmurs, voice hoarse amid the archive's humming data streams. The projected holograms shift in his periphery. Villages razed, families scattered, children lost in the Underlight's void. Each flicker of red lights on the screen feels like an indictment of his oath. For a heartbeat, he trembles between protector and accomplice, the ministry's narrative coiling around his mind like barbed wire. An oppressive hush descends. Only the slow drip of coolant echoes through the cavernous archive chamber, each splat amplifying the void between Kale and Celine. They stand at opposite ends of the console, bathed in the hollow light's sickly glow, unspoken fear stiffening the air. Neither dares to bridge the chasm carved by doubt. Celine's gaze fixed on the casualty logs, Kale's shoulders rigid with conflict. The archive's stray sparks dance like distant stars, but hope feels galaxies away. In that silent standoff, two fugitives confront the possibility that the light they carry may have cast its own deadly shadow. With trembling resolve, Celine lifts her wrist and peels the biosigil bracelet free, its gentle glow sputtering as if mirroring her doubt. She lays it atop a rusted data terminal, voice barely a rasp. Maybe they were right to fear me. The sigil's luminescence wanes, vines of circuitry dimming into the corroded metal. Kale watches helplessly as the symbol of their bond lies abandoned, a relic of trust now severed. The holologs continue their merciless litany, mocking any hope of redemption. In that gesture, Celine seems to abandon both her lineage and the fragile alliance they forged beneath the spire. Kale steps forward, heart pounding, and gently lifts the sigil from its resting place. Against the archive's chill, he clasps it back onto Celine's wrist with careful firmness. No one owns you, Shadowheart, he intones, voice steady despite his racing pulse. Not even me. The bracelet flares to life, its violet glow surging brighter than before, as if answering his vow. Celine's eyes meet his, flickers of relief and renewed strength shining through tears. In that moment, his choice crystallizes protector, not judge. The archive's condemnations fade beneath the warmth of his conviction, In the sway of flickering conduits and humming data streams, Kale and Selene stand shoulder to shoulder once more. The bio-sigil pulses in time with their synchronized breaths, casting dancing shadows on rusted walls. Doubt still lingers at the edges, but fierce loyalty binds them across the void. Together, they face the Archive's lies and the Spire's wrath, ready to reclaim the Lightweaver legacy. As hollow flares trace new routes on Kale's HUD, their silhouettes merge into a single, unbreakable shape. Two fugitives, allies reborn in the crucible of fear and trust. Word of Shadowheart's return spreads like bioluminescent spores through the Underlight's hidden sanctuaries.